Hello YouTube, my name is Rachel Mayo. Welcome to my channel and thank you for being here. I'm going to be discussing the direct motion of Saturn. Saturn is going to move direct on the 29th of September at 1:11 a.m. at 25 degrees of Capricorn. Saturn takes 29 years to go around the solar system. So that means the last time Saturn was in Capricorn was in 1991. Do you remember what happened to you in 1991? Did your life take a whole different direction? Saturn is transiting the same house and he's about to leave this house on December 20th, 2020. Saturn takes 2.5 years to complete his transit in any sign. Saturn may be transiting the same house as he was in 1991, but the alignments are totally different this time around. This time around, there's a major planetary conjunction of the outer planet, namely Jupiter and Pluto. Last time, I believe it was Neptune and Uranus and the transiting North Node. I remember this time because at this particular point, my life took a very different direction. I'm going to encourage you to watch the whole introductory part of this video because I do give a bonus towards the end of the video. The bonus is usually on Hellenistic astrology, Vedic astrology, or numerology. And also, if you're trying to learn how transits affect you, it's highly important that you listen to the whole introduction because this is where I discuss how particular alignments and aspects affect us. So if you don't know exactly how these alignments and aspects are going to affect you personally according to your sign, and you just jump to your ascendant, you're not going to understand the whole picture. I'm not going to spend hours on a video trying to explain every single aspect. I'm also going to discuss the full moon that's going to happen on the 1st of October. This full moon is going to be in Aries and it's going to be conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. The house where you have the sign of Aries is where you're going to experience the effects of this full moon. Since this full moon is conjunct Chiron, we might experience wounding or healing depending on how this full moon aspects your natal chart, also depending on how your natal Chiron is aspected. So if you don't know what Chiron is, I'm going to just briefly touch on it. Chiron is an asteroid that sits in a house in everybody's natal birth chart. This is where we are wounded, perhaps in a past life, wounds that we carry from a past life or from childhood. Every single living human being has a part in their horoscope or natal birth chart where they're wounded. Right now, Chiron is transiting the sign of Aries, and Aries is about our masculine energy, our vital energy. So this is where everybody that's on earth is feeling wounded. Our ability to initiate things, express ourselves aggressively, and our masculine energy. The asteroid Chiron is a maverick in the zodiac, and his conjunction to the full moon is very difficult to make a prediction of how it will affect you personally. Since the full moon is conjunct a sensitive asteroid in this lunation, we're all going to probably feel slightly wounded or very wounded depending on the aspects, like I said before, and very emotional. Some people may experience healing or wounding. The ruler of this full moon is Mars, and it's in trine with Venus, who is currently transiting Leo. This full moon is going to be very emotional. This is going to be a very tough lunation, which is going to be met with a lot of conflict, resistance, and perhaps wounding for some. So your Aries house is going to be in conflict with your Capricorn house, and your Capricorn house is very powerful at this time. He has Jupiter and Pluto. And if you haven't felt any benefic rewards from Jupiter, you may start to feel them probably a week from now. We were all looking to the benefic energy of Jupiter and hoping to see rewards as soon as he turned direct. I think this is going to be more likely when the owner of the house Saturn starts moving direct. So when you're in somebody's house, you have to essentially wait for the owner of the house to pop the bottle, right? So the party might actually start after Saturn is moving direct and he's done conflicting with Mars. But this conflict with Mars is not going to end anytime soon. So where do we find some hope and peace? It's through love. Mars is in trine with his lover, Venus. So we're going to find peace through love, through our relationships, through intimacy. So if there's things that are going wrong in those two houses, look to these other two houses. Look to your partner, look to your husband, look to your boyfriend. Look to the people that bring you joy. Find happiness in that. Another aspect of this lunation is that Jupiter, which is transiting Capricorn, is going to be in exact sextile with Neptune, who's transiting his own house of Pisces. This is an aspect that could make us delusional. This aspect signifies our higher ideals or our illusions and delusions. For some people, this is the aspect that will actually get them into trouble. They'll get in trouble because of what they believe in and what they stand for. I'm not here to judge whether what you believe or stand for is right or wrong. This is what's probably going to get you in conflict with the Capricorn stellium. And sometimes we do need conflict in life to get ahead or to make a mark in the world. The planet of communication and rationale, Mercury is transiting the sign of Scorpio and he's conjunct the asteroid Juno, which is all about soul commitments and agreements in partnerships, relationships, and marriage. They are both opposing Uranus in Taurus. So there might be some sudden opposing opinions or communications about commitments, relationships, and marriage. The Sun is also quincunx Uranus. This is an uncomfortable aspect and needs some negotiation. Since Pluto is also transiting Capricorn, I might as well include Pluto's direct motion in this discussion. Pluto is moving direct around 22 degrees of Capricorn on the 4th of October. The direct motion of all these outer planets in the sign of Capricorn is going to signify a moment when things that have been held back for the last 6 months or so, things are going to start moving forward in this area. Jupiter is anxious to get out of the sign of Capricorn because this is a house where he's not happy in. He's in 4 in Capricorn. And Pluto is kind of fine with Capricorn because they are sextile each other anyway. He's the only one who's going to stay back. Saturn is going to be leaving this sign soon as well and heading to his other sign of rulership, Aquarius. Saturn is the lord of karma after all. So when Saturn transits a house, he totally restructures the house, especially the houses that he rules. So we definitely always feel we definitely always will feel Saturn's transits when he's in the sign of Capricorn and Aquarius. So essentially this is 5 years that we have to restructure 2 houses in our natal horoscope. I know most people don't like Saturn transits. Saturn transits enable us to structure a house and lay the foundation for the next 29 years. So take advantage of Saturn's energy and clean up these 2 houses. I'm sure you've had a lot of hardship while Saturn was transiting Capricorn, and if you didn't take advantage of that transit, take advantage of the upcoming transit of Saturn in Aquarius, which is going to be a much easier transit than when he was in Capricorn. Saturn rules the 10th house of the zodiac. This is the highest point in the natal chart. This is the MC. Saturn gives structure to things. It's our bone structure, our skeleton, our skin. He also gives borders and boundaries to things. So we need Saturn in order to hold ourselves up, otherwise we would just be mush and jello. Saturn also rules government structures, authority figures, and we do need a functioning government, some type of hierarchy system in order to function as a society. So Saturn is very important to our existence. Saturn will teach you patience, discipline, and resilience. He will make you repeat lessons until you learn what he's trying to teach you. The animal assigned to the sign of Capricorn is the mountain goat, who relentlessly climbs the mountain until he gets to the top. Capricorns are super ambitious, and they're never satisfied until they get to the top of the mountain. Most astrologers say that when Saturn transits a house, he will make you work, but at the end of his transit, he will leave you a gift, especially when he transits his own house. So what have you been working towards? What have you been trying to accomplish in your natal Saturn house? He's probably going to leave you a gift if you have followed the rules and you've been resilient and you've learnt the lesson of that house. All this direct motion of these planets is supposed to feel quite positive. Unfortunately, because of the exact square to Mars, this is going to be very challenging. It's going to feel like you're driving up a hill or you're driving with the brakes on. The square to Mars is going to cause a lot of opposition, conflicts, and challenge. We are going to meet a lot of resistance from authority figures. So if you're in a situation where you're in conflict with an authority figure or your boss or somebody who is higher than you in hierarchy, but I suggest that you don't lose your shit and get into an argument with somebody who is higher than you, because you're not going to win this argument. Saturn is super powerful for many reasons, and he's stationary direct, so his power is highly concentrated. Mars, on the other hand, is moving retrograde. This kind of takes away his power against a bigger planet who is moving direct. So this conflict is going to be a tough one, and we're probably going to see it in the riot. Unfortunately, at this time, the government might exercise their power to an excessive level. So if you are on the Mars end, it might not be very good for you. Another thing that may happen from this transit is the government might enforce some type of stricter rules that we may have to adhere to, and no matter how much we protest, they're going to win on this one. The best course of action with this aspect is to bide your time. I would wait until Mars starts moving direct on November the 13th. Then you could present your case, because at that time, both planets will be moving direct. It might still be challenging for Mars, but you might have a better shot at presenting your argument fairly. So I'm not going to go on about the aspect of Mars squaring Saturn, because I've done about 3 videos on this aspect. So if you'd like to know how this particular aspect is going to affect you personally, please go and review those videos. And if you'd like to know how all this is going to affect you according to your natal chart, I suggest you book a reading at rachel-mayo.com. And if you're enjoying this content, I would really appreciate it if you hit like and subscribe at this time. This helps YouTube send my videos out to more people, and we do want that. We want everybody to be informed about the challenges that they're going to be facing. These are challenges that could push someone in a corner, and you start feeling that this is happening only to you. We're all experiencing this challenge. We're all experiencing this challenging transit somewhere in our natal chart. So please share this video to as many people as you can. And right now, press like and subscribe. Thank you so much for your support. So if you listen to the whole introduction, you get this bonus interpretation. This energy is going to affect you intensely if you're born on the 29th of September or a few days before and after this date. You're going to have this energy present in your solar return for the whole year. So this is energy that's going to bring major endings and perhaps some challenges, but if you act accordingly and if you don't get into unnecessary conflicts, you are probably going to achieve a lot. It just might take some extra effort. And on the other hand, if you were born on the 1st of October, the day of the full moon, you're going to have full moon energy in your solar return chart. Of course, that's also people who are born a few days before or after this date. The solar year is going to have a lot of endings and unfortunately some challenges. You're here to take this challenge, otherwise you would not have been born in this era. So it's going to be somewhat challenging, but if you stick through and avoid unnecessary conflict, it's very likely that you accomplish a lot during this solar year. In Vedic astrology, if you're going through a Saturn Mahadasha, this is the point when Saturn moves direct and becomes very powerful. So whatever promise Saturn has in your natal birth chart for this Mahadasha, this is when you're going to start seeing some movement towards that promise in your chart. And in Hellenistic astrology, if you have Saturn as your ruling planet, your Loi for the year, Lord of the year, this is when you're going to start feeling what this year promises, what essentially Saturn promises to fulfill in this year. So the full moon is at 9 degrees, and I believe Uranus is also at 9 degrees. All these are having aspects in this lunation. 9 is the number of endings. So of course, since it's a full moon, we do normally have endings and culminations. October is the 10th month of the year. 1 and 0 equals to 1. The full moon is on the 1st of October. This also makes the number 1 very important. So we have the number 9 highlighted, and we have the number 1 also highlighted. Number 9 endings, number 1 beginnings. Saturn is going direct on the 29th of September. 2 and 9 is 11, and it's going direct at 1:11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's New York time. 11 is a doorway. So there are going to be some major endings and major brand new beginnings, and there will be a doorway opened for you to enter into a whole brand new direction with your life. I believe a lot of people are going to make major decisions at this point, and these are decisions that are going to take their life in a totally brand new direction. I believe this is also the point people are going to make up their mind who they're going to vote for in the upcoming elections. And if you do make up your mind about who you're going to vote for at this time, I suggest that you stick to that decision, because Mercury is about to go in shadow, if it's not already in shadow, in the sign of Scorpio, and Mercury will be retrograde at the time of the elections. So if you feel confused and you cannot make a decision, go back to this point, this Aries full moon. What was the decision that you made at this juncture? The decision that you made at this juncture is the decision that you should probably stick with. If you're new to my channel and have not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, It's right below this video, the red button. It's not a commitment. If you're new to my channel and have not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button.